Top of the afternoon, YouTube. Last night's Leafs game was not great. Considering how they had been steamrolling teams on this road trip, I knew they were due for kind of a dud at some point. Uh, Teams just don't keep on steamrolling teams game after game. Eventually, something catches up with them, and considering they're in the middle of a long road trip. And historically, they were in Arizona last night playing the Coyotes, and they historically have a hard time against that team for some reason because usually they suck. It's like all the problems, all the years they had with Buffalo, whether Buffalo was good or bad, whether the Leafs were good or bad, they could never beat Buffalo, and it made no sense. It's the same sort of thing with the Coyotes, who they only usually play once or twice a year now, whereas Buffalo they play a pile of games, but it's the same sort of thing. They just struggle against them. So last night they were in Arizona, which is always a big deal now. With Matthews having come from the area, it's always a big deal for the Leafs to visit there. So there was lots of hype. The Leafs were riding high after clobbering Vegas the game before and all the other teams that came before them. And the first 10 minutes of the game or whatever, it looked like the Leafs were going to have another good night. But then all of a sudden it turned. And you always hear the players in interviews saying, we got, when dealing with other teams and especially their superstars, they say, we got to take away their time and space. Take away their time and space. Don't give them room and time to make plays. And that's exactly what the Coyotes did to the Leafs. They were more aggressive in going after the puck carrier. Even on the power, when they were killing penalties against the Leafs power play, they were pressuring the puck carrier rather than being a little more passive like a lot of teams do. And it showed. The Leafs couldn't get anything really going, especially any sustained pressure, and their power play sputtered as well. And it was a pile of things too. They did have their chances, but Kemper was good in net. And Arizona blocked a ton of shots. The Leafs just couldn't get anything done, and it was just one of those games, and they ended up losing 2-0 in the end. So I'm not going to harp too much on it because it was just one of those games. You knew it was going to happen at some point, and I don't think it wasn't that the effort wasn't there. It was just that they were just kind of out hustled, which sounds like the effort wasn't there, but it wasn't. They tried. They just didn't have it the way they'd had it the last number of games. It kind of disappeared for a night, but I'm not too concerned about it. Like I said, they were due for one of these games, and the only thing of note other than how the game went last night was, I guess, on the injury front, Janssen took a hit against the Golden Knights that looked like knee on knee, but fortunately, it's a lot less damage than originally expected, so it doesn't sound like he's going to miss too much time. And Tyler Ennis was in the lineup instead of him, who played down on the fourth line, since he recently came back from an injury, so he was able to crack the lineup. And for having played his first game in a long time, he actually looked pretty good. Like, he had a lot of jump and was happy to be back. So, but overall, yeah, it was just one of those games. And we'll see what happens against St. Louis on Tuesday. That should be a good game because St. Louis has been playing really well. So, yeah, can't wait. And till then, I hope the Leafs rest and enjoy the couple days off, and hopefully they can get back in the win column on Tuesday because Boston won and leapfrogged them in the standings last night. So it's starting to get to that time where every game is a must win. So, but we'll see what happens Tuesday, and I will be back on Wednesday. So long.